Everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the program. This is a continuation of the Matters of the Mind series, and this is my third episode. I've titled this one What Ladies Should Know Before They Say I Do, because I've discovered that a lot of single ladies still have this mentality or this mindset of the fact that they have to do this or they have to do that to attract so and so kind of person. So now I'm here to explain or talk about a couple of things that I have noticed. The first thing I have on my list here is, don't pause your life because you're waiting for a life partner. As funny as this might sound, again, this is a particular thing a lot of ladies do unknowingly to them. Some do it knowingly, but some unknowingly do it. I like what Chimamanda Adichie said in one of her series I listened to. She said, any kind of man that feels threatened about her success or her progress in life is the exact kind of man she doesn't want to be associated with. This is true in my opinion because I discovered that most ladies put some things on hold to say, oh, I like this car, but let me not buy it now. Maybe when I get married, I will buy it. Or I like this particular neighborhood. Let me not move in there yet. So what if it happens that your husband or your partner to be lives in that neighborhood? What if it was already destined that that particular company you're eyeing to work in that you refuse to apply to? What if it happens that that's where your Mr. Right is sitting? What if it happens that that particular place you say, oh, I will not go there yet until I'm married? What if that is the place where God has planted your own husband? So all these are the little things I feel like we should take into considerations and work on before we say the big I do. Secondly, I always tell most single ladies that I have, my cousins, my sisters, and everyone around me, to say, develop a new skill. Even if it is pure water you are selling, even if it is bottled water you are selling, sell it with all dignity. There is dignity in labor. Don't keep your life on hold to say, oh, I don't have a job and I cannot learn a skill. The way life we live in right now, even the richest men right now are not the men that have jobs. The richest men right now are the entrepreneurs who go over and above to do one or two things that they love to do. What is that thing that you love to do and you don't mind doing it even if you are not paid for it? So that's the thing I tell most single ladies. Go ahead and do that thing. Take that risk. Do that business. Learn this trade or learn this skill. So it is better to learn all these things. And you know how I like to give life examples of most of the things that I talk about. You know how, let's say you're going somewhere and you don't have a vehicle to go there, right? So what do? You come out to a bus station or to a train station. It is easier for you to see a train or a bus in those stations with you waiting there. It's easier for them to pick you up than for you to be inside your house on your bed and say, oh, I won't go to this place because I don't have a car, or I can't go to that place because I don't have a transportation to go there. It's always easier when you walk out to the main road. You can get a free lift, you could get a bus, you could get a train. So don't say because I don't have this, I cannot do this, or because I don't have job, I cannot do that. Develop a new skill, advance in your career. Let whoever it is you are getting married to or you will be in a, let the person meet you at that point where you are. Thirdly, that I'm talking about today is, what do you do in your courtship or in a relationship? I've talked about this one in one of my past episodes, and I cannot emphasize on this one enough. Get to know who you are in a relationship with. Because I've discovered that over time, most of all this abuse, all of these things we've been ranting about, most of these things are avoidable. It's just like knowing what your battle is and choosing it wisely, right? Now, take time to study whoever it is you're in a relationship with. Know the kind of person, know the person's strength, know the weakness, know if the strength is something you're comfortable with, know if the weakness is something that you are willing to deal with for the rest of your life. Then knowing all of these things, it's just like for a man, for instance, now who snores at night, right? Some girls will tell you that they cannot marry a man who snores at night. Some girls tell you that, oh, what's this? It's not just snoring at night. If the worst comes to the worst, I'll go to, I'll give him some space or go somewhere else, or I will tap him. They are ready to cope with that thing. But some ladies, it puts them off. They are not comfortable with that. So knowing his strengths and knowing his weaknesses kind of helps you manage the relationship if you guys eventually say that I do. The next thing I'll be discussing here is understanding his likes and his dislikes. I've talked about this before and I will talk about it again. This person you're gonna get married to is not born by your parents. It's not born, you guys are not siblings in any way. He's coming from a different background. You are coming from a different background. You guys have come to a junction where you guys are willing to work together to grow a family together. Now, you want to know his likes and his dislikes. His dislikes might be something very trivial to you. Your dislikes too might be something very trivial to him. To some guys, their likes, or rather to some guys, their dislikes in women might be, they don't like women who are very, how do I put this? They don't like women who like to hang out a lot. And to some girls, they might not like guys who like to hang out a lot. So I feel like knowing these both things, knowing the likes of this partner and knowing the dislikes of the other partner, and see how you guys can measure together on a common ground, will help on the long run when you guys eventually say the big I do. The next thing I'll be discussing about right now will be understanding his response in a fight or a quarrel. This is a big one because most domestic abuse these days is, I've discovered over time that when you communicate with those who are in abusive relationships and you ask them, right, like if you ask them what happened, you will discover that whatever it is this partner did to make the other partner angry might be something little. So these little things, I feel like you need to understand his response in a quarrel or in a fight. I'm not going to say go around or go ahead and set up a fight to see how he will react. No. Life happens, different things happen. Even if you set up, he might be strong in response to this particular situation and might be weak in his response to the other situation. So you should be able to strike a balance again to know that in this situation, this is how he would react. And if you're comfortable with it, if you're comfortable with it, why not carry the baggage along? But if you're not comfortable with it, I feel courtship is the time where you address some things you're not comfortable with just before you go into it. Another thing I'll be discussing about here again is, I'll be talking about here is, if possible, be as financially independent as possible. You know, it is always very easy. Most times I discover that if the woman is not financially responsible, okay, and let's say she's pregnant and she's having a baby, you know, I always like to give life examples. And let's say you guys, you both couples, the husband and the wife, they go out together to the shop to get baby clothes for their expectant baby, their expectant baby. And let's say you buy a particular cloth. I'm not sure of any mother who has only one first wear. I don't think any mother I know has one first wear. We always like to have a turn of them. Let's say you guys have gone to the store and you've bought, let's say you're expecting a girl and you bought this particular pink dress that you feel like, oh, she will look cute on this as her first wear. And let's say the next day again, in those days, there was no social media. So whatever, the only place you can see baby clothes is when you go to the store. These days, you don't even need to go to the store to see baby clothes. The moment you come up on social media, someone is celebrating their newborn, you are seeing them with this very fluffy headgear, you're seeing them with this very fluffy hand gloves, you're seeing them with this very fluffy cloth if they are born in the winter and all that. So it's possible you might buy a white fluffy dress and the next thing you see is, oh, there's this pink one you saw with your friend's child and you feel like, oh, I think I might need to buy this one. And you buzz your friend, say, where did you buy this? And she tells you the place. The only way you can do all of these things is if you are financially independent or if you have, some money around with you to spend. So I always advocate this. A lady's want is unlimited. Everybody knows that. We always want to shop. We always want to buy. We don't get tired of buying. The more we see, the more we want to buy. It's just the way I feel God created it. Even if I feel that there's supposed to be a balance to all these things, but it's always very important if a lady, in question can be financially independent, so that way you see these small little things that we look at it like, what's there? We've bought a first wear before. And if you are married to a man who is very prudent with spending, he might tell you, oh, but we already bought a first wear before. Why do you want to buy another one again? But if you have your own money, you can say, okay, you know what? We bought a white one, but I don't want the white one for the baby. Since she's a girl, let me go ahead and order for this pink one, or let me go ahead and order for this yellow one. So that's what I mean when I say ladies should be financially independent. And also, you have family members you might want to take care of. There are some things you might feel like, oh, let me not burden my husband with this particular one. Let me take care of my younger sister's school fee, or let me take care of my younger brother's school fee. Not all the time, because he also has a family. He has some silent struggles he might not want to share all the time with you. So you might be like, okay, since you're financially independent, you deal with what you can deal with, okay, and you keep it moving. That way everybody is happy, everybody's smiling. Another thing I'll be discussing here will be mind the standards you reduce because you are trying to please the next person. I feel this one has been a major problem in a lot of people's life. I'm not saying you will not compromise if the opportunity comes. Like right now, there's one of my biggest mentors that said, She likes to mentor young ones because she also has a burning desire to stop these bitter women we have in the society. She has a strong desire to reduce the amount of divorced women that we have in the society. She kind of feels pain, like I always do, when I see women living less than their standards, that everybody knows that this is not what she will do on a normal day. But because she's married to a certain person, she just sweeps some things under the carpet. So mind the kind of standards you reduce because you are trying to please the next person. Now, I will always give a life example, okay? I know of this particular lady that believes so much in traveling for vacations while she was single. She's very adventurous with trips. She likes to, the only way she relaxes is to pick up her baggage and take a trip somewhere else. Let's say you are in a relationship with somebody who doesn't like to travel so much, and you know that right from time you have always been the traveling type. Besides, even when you get married, it will not be so easy to be traveling, because now when you think of the fact that you have a baby or you have 2 babies, normally maybe you would travel to another country. Okay, I'm not saying, like I said, that you won't compromise, okay, but there should be a common ground to all these things. So now when you want to reduce your standard to say, oh, this season or this summer, I'm not traveling for any vacation because I don't want my partner to feel bad. Why are you reducing your standard? What happened if both of you take a trip and go there together, right? So don't reduce your standards in a bid to please a man, okay? Also, let's say, in your opinion, as a single girl, you know that you cannot deal with a man who drinks or who smokes. Why are you bothering yourself to say, oh, let me tolerate it so that it doesn't look like I'm a nagging woman, all in the name of I want to settle down? And now you reduce your standards and you now get married to this man that now goes out to hang out. And maybe when he comes back drunk, he starts punching you and all that because he's not in his clear senses. Remember, you were the one who started this, because if you had complained about this at the beginning, at that particular point in time in your life, you would have come to that point where he would have known that, oh, my partner doesn't like this, so even if I have to even drink, let me drink in the house. Or, oh, my partner doesn't like me hanging out with the boys, even if I want to hang out with the boys, let me have the boys come over. Since she doesn't have an issue with hosting, let me have the boys come over this weekend. You know, there's always a common ground. I can't even emphasize this one enough. So the bottom line of all of this particular one is, don't reduce your standard in a bid to please the next person. The next one I'll be discussing about here is save every detail of your life and dispense it little by little. Mind you, I'm not saying you should keep secrets, but the truth is, some men are still in work in progress when it comes to maturity. Some cannot handle some certain things. It's just like you meeting a guy that you got started a relationship with. Let's say a relationship with him, let's say this week, and maybe you've had a painful past, like from, a painful past as a child, to say, okay, you met him in less than a week, you're already telling him that, oh, you were raped as an early teenager. What if the man is not matured enough to handle this? I'm not saying you won't tell him, don't get me wrong. I remember there was this insurance exam that I wrote not too long ago, and in the exam, for you to be able to go to the next phase of the practice packet, you have to have answered a particular number in the packet 1 to be able to enter the packet 2. More like you have to earn that level of knowledge to be able to unlock level 2. So now, how are you sure that man has earned that level of knowledge before you start unlocking some things you should have kept? And at the end of the day, you keep having problems and problems and problems. Let the man earn it. You guys should grow to a certain level where you feel like, okay, now I'm comfortable telling him this. Oh, in the next phase, okay, I'm comfortable telling him that. Or in the next phase, I'm comfortable telling him this, and that. Most women are always very quick to vomit and tell the man everything about their life, everything about their past life, everybody that they have met, everything that they have done. What if the man is not comfortable with that? Or what if he has not grown matured enough to be able to deal with that? Like I said, I'm not advocating for women to keep secrets here, but I'm just saying, make sure he's matured enough to deal with the secret you're about to reveal to him. Another thing I will talk about here is enjoy your space. A lot of women are not even enjoying their spaces. They don't even have a life. They don't have a schedule for themselves. If you don't have a life, you don't have a schedule for yourself, how do you want to accommodate the next person who already has a life and a schedule? Do you get? I say this a lot because I discovered that a lot of people, like right now, most times when I go back to look at my past pictures, I smile because I always say I enjoyed my single life. I enjoyed my single life in the fact that I slept a lot, I relaxed, I went to the movies, in my own little way. I felt like I enjoyed my single days, so that now when I'm so stressed up with life, I'm so stressed up with the fact that I don't even have time to go for a vacation, or my life is super busy, I go back once in a while to those pictures, I look at them and I smile to see, I really enjoyed myself. I remember some time ago, those days in the university where you can never catch me looking unfresh. So no matter how unfresh I look, even in marriage, or no matter how stressed out I look at something, I'm like, you know what? Let me be easy on myself, because when the opportunity was there for me to enjoy all of those things, I had mad fun with them. I enjoyed them to the fullest. Like I said, it's possible I never traveled out. I never went abroad for a vacation. I never went on those some kind of adventures I would have wished, I had the finances to go for. But the little way I could, I relaxed. I enjoyed myself. I went for movies. I enjoyed my own space, so that way, if somebody else comes into my space, I'll be able to also enjoy that person in my space. So if you don't enjoy yourself, how can you enjoy someone else in your space? So I tell single ladies all the time, make sure you are comfortable in your own space, first of all. Also, the next thing I'll be talking about is discover yourself. Discovering yourself is a lifelong journey. You will discover yourself when you are not happy. You will discover yourself when you are happy. You will discover yourself when you are in a relationship. You will discover your new self when you are out of a relationship. You will discover your new self when you go through a breakup. So discovering yourself is a lifelong journey. It is something that you do over and over and over again. You discover yourself in several phases of life. When you get married, you are going to discover yourself in a new dimension. When you have kids, you will discover yourself again in a new dimension. I'm sorry, this one looks like it's a little bit longer, but the list is kind of long. I'm almost done. Another thing I talk about is when you have babies, you have to discover yourself when it comes to, how do I cope with this child? Who am I when this child is sleeping? Or who am I when I'm stressed out? Who am I when I'm not stressed out? If you've not discovered yourself, how do you want to cope with the next person you are praying for? You know how sometimes I always say, some people are praying for a rainfall, but do you have an umbrella first of all when the rain starts